That means we have governments who are lying to their people, to their citizens. That's absolutely shocking. We have a lot more questions for the EMA, and we hold them responsible, so they have to reply and make clear what they did. If you have like vaccine damage, that you have health problems, sue them. More and more reports coming in, scientific articles coming in, which showed all kind of adverse events, as they call it, but that's like side effects of the COVID vaccines, are like 10 or 20 or 100-fold the number of side effects that we see from any other vaccine which was not based on mRNA. So as we have this European Medical Agency who is monitoring the safety of the vaccines, that's the institute that should warn us about whether or not this vaccine is safe. So that triggered us to ask them serious questions. They were very clear about that they thought the vaccine was still safe for vulnerable groups. But they stated very clearly that that is on medical indication. They explicitly said it's not for transmission control, meaning that and they said even more, it's only to protect the individual. So you go to a medical doctor, he'll do an anamnesis, he'll do an assessment of your health and weigh the risks of the vaccine versus the risk of COVID infection. And when you have like almost no risks, when you get COVID and when you're young, the risks were very, very close to zero, then you have no medical indication to get the vaccine. And that is completely contrary to the government campaigns. And that, to me, was very shocking to find out. Because we saw in a lot of EU member states, they pushed the vaccine to protect others. Which means, take the vaccine and then you cannot infect anybody around you. Your family or patients or students or other vulnerable people. And that, the EMA stated, is not the case when you get the vaccine. Because you can still get a COVID infection and you still can transmit the COVID virus to others. So that was based on a lie. And that means we have governments who are lying to their people, to their citizens. That's absolutely shocking. Yeah, well, the first thing that we did was not focusing on the EMA. What we did was focusing on the government and on the medical experts that the government used to promote their narrative. And it was only in a very late stage that the information about the EMA reached me and reached my colleagues. Yes, they said it in a report, but this report was not widely published or shown to even Parliament. I know that in the Dutch Parliament, this information was not disclosed. So you had to dig deep into all this mountain of reports to find out. So yes, it's late, but I'm glad that I found it. What the government is for, to be there for the people. We elect the government, we elect the parliament, and we should trust them that they are there for our well-being. And this is violated, this trust. What is this contract? What is this deal? What was actually the agreement between these big pharma companies and the European Commission? So we tried to get disclosure of the contract and disclosure of the communication between Ursula von der Leyen, who's president of the European Commission, and Bourla, the president of Pfizer. And it was very, very difficult to get anything. They still haven't disclosed the text messages between these two, and they still haven't fully disclosed the contract. So we don't know. We don't know exactly what they had in mind for us. But I do know that the European Commission ordered 10 vaccines for every citizen in the European Union. 10 in this initial deal. I mean, what were they thinking? A vaccine, as in the definition that I always knew, and that was valid until the COVID pandemic, was that when you have one vaccine, you become immune. You become immune. And now, even the EMA stated in their letter, immunity, the protection wanes over time. It becomes less and less effective. And we saw that because first we should take one vaccine and we were protected, then we should repeat it after a year, then after half a year, then after 3 months. How long is it really effective? Or even worse, is it effective? Is it effective at all? And we can wonder about that now. Well, we are pressuring the EMA to withdraw marketing approval. We have more scientific research that shows that these vaccines, or at least a part of the batches, are absolutely unsafe. And that is scientifically proved. So they need to do something with that. They are being pressured more and more, so they get a second letter, which will be sent to them this week, in which we pressure again this withdrawal of this marketing approval. And we see that there are a lot of other areas where they admit the things that should have happened didn't, like giving good information to have real informed consent. And informed consent means that you, as a patient, consent with the vaccine being administered to you. And you do that because you're well informed. Well, there is like a document of 574 pages in which a medical doctor or any other medical expert must dive into to find out whether or not this vaccine is applicable for you or not. So that is absolutely impossible to give like information and to patients, and therefore informed consent is impossible, and they need to answer that. So we have a lot more questions for the EMA, and we think we hold them responsible, so they have to reply and make clear what they did to prevent like this off-label use, what they did to get the national authorities to push for informed consent. What did they do? What did they do with regard to the safety, and what did they do with regard to the warnings that were coming in that the vaccine was not safe? So they have to answer a lot of questions there, and the only reasonable outcome can be that they withdraw this marketing approval. The first thing that they should do is not taking another vaccine. I think that is really the first thing to do, because there is really no certainty about whether or not this vaccine helps and whether or not it's safe, because the side effects, it looks like that they're really awful. So don't take another vaccine. That would be my first advice. And then the second thing is, if you have like vaccine damage, that you have health problems, sue them. What we see in the Netherlands, that was clearly stated by the Minister of Public Health, is that this off-label use means that they, as government, are responsible for any harm caused by the vaccinations, because they were using it off-label. And that is, so even if there is no clarity about, do you need to go to the pharmaceutical industry, or do you need to go to your doctor to sue them? No, it's the government that's responsible. That was clearly stated in the Netherlands. And what we see in the Netherlands is that often victims unite and hire a lawyer. So you can unite, become strong in that way, and then take legal action. So that is most of the time this works.